Bomboloni. Bomboloni.
Bomboloni. Bomboloni is an Italian donut that is typically filled with pastry cream, but in this video we are going to fill it with Nutella. This one, not really. We are going to make our own homemade Nutella. So let's begin. Alright, we are gonna start by adding 3 teaspoons active dry yeast to half a cup lukewarm milk. Make sure the milk is lukewarm. If it is too hot, the yeast will die, and if it's too cold, it will not activate. The temperature of the milk should be anywhere between 90 degrees to 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 to 37 degrees Celsius. Give it a nice stir and leave it at room temperature for 5 minutes to get it activated. Next, in a medium-sized mixing bowl, we are gonna crack 3 whole eggs and add 2 egg yolks, followed by half a cup granulated sugar and a teaspoon vanilla extract. Mix them well with a whisk or a fork. Once done, we are gonna add 550 grams bread flour, which provides a good strength and high rise to the dough because of its higher protein content, and a pinch of salt. After 5 minutes or so, the yeast mix should have bubbles on the surface. If it doesn't, then redo this step or else our bombolonis will become flatolonis. Is it really a word? I don't even know why I said that. I simply meant that they will not rise and become flat. Add it to the bowl and mix all of them with a spatula until a shaggy dough forms. Then get your hands dirty and start kneading it. After like a minute of kneading, add 100 grams of softened unsalted butter and knead for 5 minutes until the dough comes together. Then transfer the dough to the work surface and knead it for good 15 minutes to develop the gluten networks in the dough. It will be really sticky, wet and a little messy, but keep going until a soft elasticy dough forms. To make sure if the dough is ready or not, just stretch it into a thin sheet between your fingers like so. If it doesn't break, it is ready. Then roll it into a smooth ball and transfer it to a bowl that is lightly greased with some butter. Move the dough ball around a little bit to grease the sides. Cover it with a damp cloth and let it sit at room temperature for 2 hours. While the dough is resting, we are gonna start making our own Nutella to fill our bombolonis. For that, we are gonna add 300 grams of raw hazelnuts to a baking sheet lined up with a silicone baking mat or a parchment paper. Then we are gonna put them in the oven, which has been preheated at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 176 degrees Celsius, and toast them for 8 to 10 minutes. We are not looking for much color here. It is simply to release the natural oils and make it easier to remove the skins. When they are done, the skin should come off very easily. To remove the skin, we are gonna transfer them to a kitchen towel and bring all the ends of the towel to make a hazelnut sack and start rubbing them like so. If you feel that they are hot, then let them cool off a little bit and then follow the same procedure. Once done, we are gonna separate the peeled hazelnut in a bowl. Don't worry if there is any stubborn skin left on some of the nuts. Our main goal was to get rid of most of the skin. If you don't want to go through this process, then you can also buy pre-toasted peeled hazelnuts from the market. Next, transfer all the toasted hazelnuts to a food processor and start blitzing. Keep scraping down the sides as needed throughout the process. They will look really crumbly at the beginning, but as you go, they will release all the natural oils and turn into a very smooth butter. It should take about 8 to 10 minutes. Once the smooth liquid is formed, we are gonna add half a cup powdered sugar, 1/3 cup or 35 grams cocoa powder and keep blitzing. While it is blitzing, we are gonna add 1 teaspoon vanilla extract and 2 tablespoons melted coconut oil and continue blitzing for a minute. It will look like a thick paste at this moment, but there is one more thing left to add to the mixture: chocolate. So add half a cup semi-sweet chocolate chips into a heat-proof bowl over a pot of simmering water and keep stirring until melted. Make sure that the water is not touching the bowl and is not boiling. Once it is melted, add it to the hazelnut mixture with a pinch of salt and keep blitzing until everything is well incorporated. And that's it, our homemade Nutella is ready. Then transfer it to a mason jar, cover it with a lid and label it by adding first 2 letters of your first name before Tella, like I did, and I'm gonna call mine Nutella. For your information, if you make more Nutella like this one in the future, store it in the fridge and it's gonna be good for 2 weeks. Okay, now let's compare them. The regular Nutella tastes like just regular Nutella, we all know it. And the one that we made is a little grainy in texture. That's because we didn't use the commercial grade food processor, but the consistency is pretty good. Taste wise, it's definitely better. It has got a good punch of hazelnut and is definitely chocolatey, and also because it's homemade. Alright, after 2 hours our dough is well proofed. You can see it has got doubled in size. Now give it some love just because everyone deserves to be loved. Then dust some flour onto the work surface, invert this soft bubbly dough onto it and lightly flour the top of the dough as well. Then using a rolling pin, roll it out into a half-inch thick disc. If the dough sticks to the surface while rolling, you can lightly dust some flour and keep going. After that, we are gonna cut out the dough with 3.5-inch cookie cutter. Leave minimum space while cutting and try getting as many dough rounds as you can and keep going until you are done cutting. Then carefully lift the dough while making sure the dough rounds are not sticking, and there we have our dough rounds ready. You can reuse the leftover dough. You can either shape them in any random shape and fry them, or roll it out again and cut more dough rounds for the donuts. Then we are gonna place each dough round on a parchment paper that is cut into large squares and arrange them in a tray, leaving an inch space between them. It is really important to leave some space because they are gonna increase in size while resting. If you place them too close, they will stick to each other. The reason we are using parchment paper because it's gonna help in keeping the donut nice and round, and once they are proofed, avoid handling them with your hands as you can easily knock the air out of the donut. Then we are gonna cover them with another same size baking sheet, or you can also cover it with a plastic wrap loosely to prevent them from drying out. And let them proof at room temperature for about 1.5 hours or until doubled in size. I'm gonna keep them in the oven turned off with lights on, which will create a perfect warm environment for them to grow. Alright, after proofing the dough rounds, they have increased in size and ready to be fried. Before we do that, we are gonna need a bed of paper towel to drain the excess oil from the donuts. I'm using a cooling rack lined up with paper towels inserted in a baking sheet. To start off with frying part, we are gonna pour about an inch vegetable oil into the pot and bring the temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 176 degrees Celsius. I'm using this candy thermometer to maintain the temperature. I highly recommend you to get one of these to get the perfect results in the kitchen. Or if you don't have one, to make sure if the oil is hot or not, simply drop a piece of leftover dough into the pot. If it sizzles, it's ready to go, but be extra careful while frying. When the oil is hot, carefully drop the donut into the pot and immediately remove the parchment paper with tongs. Don't overcrowd the pot as it will drop the temperature. Fry them for about 2 minutes until golden brown. Then using a spider skimmer, flip them and fry the other side for another 2 minutes or until golden brown in color as well. Once they are done, transfer them to the bed of paper towel and let them cool off for like 30 seconds. Then we are going to toss them in a bowl of granulated sugar while they are still warm. If they get cold, the sugar won't stick to the donuts. We are going to fry them in small batches and repeat the same process with the rest. In the next step, we are going to create a small incision by inserting a knife halfway into the side of the donut and move it around to create some space in it. Make sure you don't go all the way in or to the top or to the bottom of the donut. Just stay in the center and repeat the same with the rest. Then we are going to fill a piping bag fitted with a nozzle with our own homemade Nutella. Oh wait, it's Nutella, and fill the donuts with it. You will know when it's filled up inside when it's kind of pushes back the piping bag. Repeat the same with the rest and that is it. We are done. Now, do you know what time it is? Eating time. So let's open it and have a bite. Oh yeah, look at that. The bomb has just exploded with hazelnut spread all over. The first thing you will notice when eating these donuts that they are light as air and they will just melt in your mouth. The homemade hazelnut spread took it to a whole another level. I'm not being biased because I made them, but these donuts are one of the best I'm having in a while. And yes, they are quite rich. Alright guys, so now you know how to make bombolonis with your own homemade Nutella. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up. I mean double thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys next week. Till then, bye bye.